What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Scott here. Fantasy Suite week of the Bachelor Joey season, which Fantasy Suite week is always definitely an interesting week to see how the lead navigates, how the contestants react to how the lead navigates it. And this season also did not disappoint. So let's just hop right in. First off, the cold opens continue to hit, and we see that Joey looks like finally going to get that note in his door that we've been teased with all season, and we finally get revealed that it says, "We need to talk." Joey said he feels like he's falling in love with all three women still remaining. He said he wants to fully let go and be in it, but he's holding back, mainly I think from fully opening up to Charity last season of The Bachelorette and being rejected, trying to propose. Trying to figure out who was writing the note here. It looked like someone with pink nails, maybe Daisy's, maybe Kelsey's. It kind of looked like it might be possibly, but you know, there was a glare on some of the nails, so I don't know. Deep in the weeds over here during the episode trying to figure out this stuff, but I definitely think it's one of those two, Daisy or Kelsey, writing the note. Rachel is having an inner battle with herself to get herself to open up to Joey. Susan from the Golden Bachelor shows up to talk to Rachel. Susan's great. I mean, it seems like she's able to really just get Rachel to open up and feel comfortable and get her opening up to her. Rachel says she is in love with Joey, but she is just nervous because two of her previous relationships ended in cheating. Love yourself before anyone can love you. Susan was dropping knowledge here to Rachel. Susan gets her to realize to let her guard down and just give it her all here. Rachel gets the first Fantasy Suite date of the week. Joey said she's not as emotionally available, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, as he said, but just feels like she might be holding back a little bit. The day portion of their date is jumping off, kind of platforms into a little water pond situation here, different levels. They keep, moving up, and unfortunately, on like one of the second to last ones, it looks like Rachel, when they jump off, it looks like her head might have came forward a little bit and kind of smacks her face right on the water, and they have medical come over and look at her, says she might have a broken jaw, so they end up just going to the hospital to get checked out. They get an x-ray, and thankfully everything looked good, so they leave and are able to go forward to the night portion of the date. At the night portion, she feels bad, but Joey says, hey, you shouldn't feel bad. It was a freak accident. That's nothing you could have done, and, you shouldn't feel bad whatsoever. Rachel worries that she might be too late opening up to Joey because she doesn't know where the other two ladies' relationship is with him, and, she doesn't know if they've opened up further to him, and, if she's just too late in, sharing her feelings to Joey. And obviously, it being a tough week with two other ladies, getting more time with him, she shares those feelings with him as well, and Joey does such a good job in these conversations, and he hears her out, he reassures her and comforts her as she gets upset, and I mean, rightfully so. It's a tough week, as we said. Rachel does say yes to the Fantasy Suite, and they head off for the night. In the morning, Joey said that he is falling for Rachel, and it seems like that she was able to open up a little bit more to him overnight, and they made some more progress in the relationship, which is good to see. Next up, we have Kelsey's Fantasy Suite. Leslie from the Golden Bachelor shows up to talk with Kelsey. Leslie opens up how they're similar, both lost their mom way too young, and she's able to relate to her about that loss, and them being both so close with their mom, as they both said. Kelsey does say she is in love with Joey, and Leslie gives her advice on how to approach the overnight, because back on her season, after the overnight, she expressed how she was very confident that it was going to be her, and obviously she was heartbroken in the end that it wasn't her. And, I think that obviously Leslie didn't mean any harm or anything here, but I think that this conversation did more bad for Kelsey than good. Because I think after this, we start to see her maybe in her head a little bit and start to churn and start to spiral just a little bit. She said afterwards that she was feeling good until that conversation with Leslie, and now she's nervous. She heads to meet Joey, and they go on a boat, and Joey says he doesn't know if Kelsey feels the same way he does because she hasn't said "I love you" to him yet. He said that she makes him feel different. He thinks he feels this good because he can picture such a future with her. She's in her head a little bit because of the other woman still here. That's something that Leslie brought up in their conversation earlier that day. They jump into the water, swim with some turtles, and man, this just looks like an incredible date. Incredible scenery, incredible, ocean, sea life. Looks just like an incredible date to me. Joey shares with her how he closes down sometimes because he doesn't want to feel that feeling again, like where he thought it was him and Charity in the end, and he's getting ready to propose to her, and she didn't choose him. Kelsey does get to that point and opens up and tells him that she does love him. Not just falling in love, but that she does love him. He tells her that, he is falling in love with her. And that's the first time Joey's expressed that this season. So good on you, Joey. We're definitely getting there towards the end where all these feelings are going to start coming out. Kelsey says yes to the fantasy suite and they're off for the night. In the morning, Joey describes their connection as indescribable. Seems like 'twas a good night for both of them. Daisy's fantasy suite date time, Sandra from the Golden Bachelor comes and visits. Daisy opens up that she told him she was falling in love with him, but said she feels that when she's away from him, it feels like she is in love with him, is basically what I got from the first part of their conversation. Sandra tells Daisy to basically just go for it and, talk through what you're feeling. Daisy gets a little emotional, and I hope she's able to open up to Joey here on this date, because we're kind of getting down towards the end, and Joey, I don't think, really knows where Daisy's head is at in all of this currently. Joey and Daisy go four-wheeling, I think they call, or they go on an ATV through the mud. I mean, definitely very outdoorsy over here, as you can tell. We cut back to Kelsey, though, during the one-on-one date at the hotel, concerned from what Leslie said and how, there's still two other people here. And like I said, this conversation from Leslie really, I think, just got Kelsey in her head a little bit and started, maybe spiraling a little bit. You hope she can maybe grab the rope and not go completely downturn in this, but that's to be determined at this point. Daisy said she is so in love with him and wants to tell him. Daisy tells Joey how much she missed him during the week, and when she was doing stuff all week, she was like, oh, I wish Joey was here. And I'll tell you, that's when you really know it's love, and that, you have someone that you want to, spend your life with, or that you are in love with, is when you really just want to do everything with them, even if it's just, regular stuff, going to the grocery store, cooking breakfast, like something. And it sounds like that's what Daisy came to a realization this week. So, that's good for here. You hope she can relay that to Joey and make him see that as well. Then, of course, the show's got to get in the outdoor shower scene before we head to commercial. At the night portion, Daisy said she was frustrated with herself because she gets emotional because when she's away from Joey, it's so great, but then, she starts overthinking it. Daisy opens up how she feels so seen and safe from Joey and able to open up with how she's feeling, because in the past relationships, she has been shut down and felt judged for opening up with how she's feeling. Joey said he fears someone falls in love with the idea of Joey because of how, in his words, how chill he is and most of the time, and, not fall in love with Joey himself. Daisy says again how she feels that Joey changed her life and how she views herself personally. Joey tells Daisy that he is falling in love with her without a doubt. We kind of did hear this last week in Hometowns when Daisy first said that she was starting to fall in love with him, and Joey, in his words, kind of just word vomited and said, like, oh, like, yep, me too. But now he, actually wanted to officially, say it to her. So now we got two I'm falling in love with yous from Joey, both to Kelsey and to Daisy. Daisy says yes to the fantasy suite, and they are off. In the morning, seems like they had a good night. They're both falling in love with each other, and Daisy said she feels reassured after last night, so it seems like vibes are really good. We go back to the hotel to Kelsey, who is talking about how hard the situation they're in is. It seems like she is definitely still just in her head a bit from everything Leslie said. Like I said, I don't think, obviously, Leslie was there to help, but I think, maybe a little bit kind of just, as we see, kind of just got in her head a little bit, and she's just thinking about all these scenarios, which, I mean, rightfully so. She should be thinking about all these scenarios because they are possibilities, but it seems like it might have done more harm than good. Kelsey goes to Joey's room to try to talk with him, but he's not there. She said something's on her mind and wants to share it with him. She writes a note that says, we need to talk, and put it in his door. So we finally find out who wrote that note that we see in Joey's door that we've been teased with all season. She said, I'd rather leave now than have my heart completely broken. We see Joey show up and get the card, and he's confused. He's like, I don't know, what's going on? I didn't say anything. He's just very confused, and he says, and it's true, he said, when someone says we need to talk, usually something's wrong, or, something's not right. No one says, hey, we need to talk, and then and follows it up with something good. So, obviously he, rightfully so, gets emotional, saying that this would derail everything. And then he kind of walks off camera and says he's done with this. And then we get the to be continued. And, that was a very obviously exciting ending here, and leave us on a cliffhanger. You knew they were going to leave us with the cliffhanger when we got at the beginning of the episode that we were going to finally get that reveal of who wrote the card. You knew that we were going to be left on a cliffhanger. You knew that for basically 2 weeks, it seems like. Although, maybe not. Next week we had the Women Tell All, and at the end of the Women Tell All promo, it seems like we might be getting that conversation with Kelsey next week before heading into the finale here in 2 weeks. but that's to be determined. But the trailer for the finale looks incredible. Looks like it's going to be a really emotional and entertaining ending. Jesse ends the trailer with, "You think you know what happens, guess again." All right, Jesse, I'll hold you to that. Obviously, we're still spoiler free over here, so I don't know what happens, but I'm excited to find out. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.